Have you ever worried that outgrowing a friendship makes you a bad person or that by leaving, you're doing something wrong? There's grief that comes when you change on the inside and some friendships don't fit anymore. And that doesn't make you cruel or disloyal. It might actually mean you're finally being honest about who you are. Hi, I'm Diane Hatz, and welcome to A Writer's Life. This is a space where I talk about rebuilding in midlife, creativity, and what it looks like to change your life from the inside out. When friendships start to feel different and the old dynamics don't work anymore, it can be easy to turn that on yourself and think, I'm the problem. I'm doing something wrong. I'm being selfish. This doesn't mean you're bad or other people are bad or one of you is better than the other. It just means the foundation you built the relationship on might not exist anymore. And to be clear, I'm not talking about every single person you grab a drink with or see at a party. There are different kinds of friendships. So you can have a zillion social friends and acquaintances you hang out with, have a good time with, and that's it. I think it's good to have a bunch of those. What I'm talking about are the people you open yourself up to. The ones who know your history, your stories, your fears. Those are the relationships where, when you change on the inside, the old dynamic can start to feel off or even painful. Like maybe you had a friend where the entire bond was built around drinking and numbing out together, and now you're living differently. Or maybe the friendship was actually you acting like a free therapist and always being the one to listen and help. And now you're learning boundaries. Or you simply realize you feel differently around the other person, even if you can't name it. That's a sign something has shifted. I think a lot of us need to understand that things on the outside change when we change on the inside. And we need to allow ourselves to grieve the friendships that don't have room for the new version of ourselves. Grief isn't only for death or breakups. There's also the grief of realizing you may never again have the same closeness with someone who mattered deeply to you because who you are now doesn't fit into your old life. That grief can be especially intense in midlife because so much of our social world is built around long histories. You might have known someone for decades, or you've been through marriages, divorces, births, illnesses. Letting a relationship like that change or letting it go can feel like betraying not only them, but your own past. But what if it's not betrayal? What if allowing a friendship to evolve or even to fade is actually a sign of respect for who you both are now? I'm not saying you should cut ties with everyone and become a hermit, or that you should never speak to the person again. I'm also not saying every uncomfortable friendship is one you've outgrown. Some relationships need different communication, clear boundaries, or an honest conversation. What I'm saying is that if you constantly feel small, drained, unseen, or like you have to perform an old role to stay connected, you might want to pay attention to that and ask yourself things like, can I bring my current self into this relationship? Or do I feel like I have to shrink or exaggerate parts of me to be accepted? Do I feel nourished in some way after we've spent time together? Or do I feel like I need a few days to recover? Is this friendship based on mutual care and respect, or on one person overgiving and the other always taking? These aren't easy questions, but they matter if you're trying to live in alignment with who you are now, not who you were 10 or 20 years ago, or even 2 years ago. For me, this process has meant that my close friend social circle is much smaller, but the ones who remain and the new people who are slowly appearing are relationships where I feel like I can show up as myself and be respected as I am. I'm still figuring this all out. I don't have a 5-step plan or a tidy way to wrap this up and say, here's exactly what I think you should do. But I do think we'd all be much happier if we learned to follow our gut and work through our fear of abandonment by letting friendships and relationships ebb and flow naturally. If you're in the process of working on yourself from the inside out and you're making changes with things around you, congratulations. You're starting to live the truth of who you are and what you need. And yes, there is grief in that. There's grief in seeing group photos and you're not in them anymore. There's a grief in birthdays that don't get remembered, in text threads you're no longer part of, in realizing you no longer share a common language with people who once felt like home. My biggest grief point right now is LinkedIn. I go there and see all these people I knew and worked with who are starting new jobs, getting promoted, and doing all these wonderful things. And I'm out in the desert trying to rebuild my life. It does make me sad sometimes, so much so that I try to stay off the platform as much as possible. Like I really, right now, can't go on it. I'll know I fully launched into my new life when I no longer feel depressed or sad when I go on the site. What I've learned recently is that we need to honor and mourn that sadness because it is sad and there was loss. I cry when I get emotional. I take a break from life when I need to. And I remind myself that that sadness is helping me wash away all the hurts from my past, and it's laying the groundwork for the amazing life I'm now building. I might not be there yet, but had I not let go, I never would have been able to do what I'm doing now. So please honor and mourn your sadness. Cry all you need. You can miss people, and you can still love them and be grateful for what they brought into your life. At the same time, as we let go of things, we open up space for something new to grow. I'm sure you know the saying, you have to close one door to open another. It's true, but new friendships might not show up overnight. Sometimes there's a long in-between stage where you know who you aren't anymore and are still growing into the new you. And you haven't found your new people yet. That's where I currently am. That gap can be lonely and confusing. You might feel like you're wandering in the desert socially and emotionally. Well, I guess I literally do go wandering alone in the desert, ha. But if you're in that space right now, you're not alone. You're also not broken, and you're not doing anything wrong. A lot of people in their 40s, 50s, and beyond go through this type of transition. We just don't see it posted on social media like we do all the fun and exciting things people put up. So if you notice that your friendships are shifting and you're quietly grieving connections that no longer fit, it might be a sign that you're honoring who you've become. You're choosing authenticity over familiarity, and that takes a lot of courage. Congratulate yourself. It's not easy to stand tall and be the you were meant to be. So cheers to every little step you take. I hope to see you next episode. Until then, stay true to you. Thank you.